All right, here we go, y'all. Time for the recommendation episode. I am so excited. How are you guys feeling about tonight's theme?
I'm feeling
It's
good.
good. I liked it. Good
This was
variety.
all over the place. These are very different movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the thing I loved the most is that one, it's just anybody from like with any type of like different view of genres than we have. So genres were off the charts, directions, like tone, everything was like so different. And that to me was the most exciting thing because it wasn't just like this theme, that theme, this theme. It's just like, okay, whatever you guys want, throw it at us.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, 3 very different genres, and I was happy about that. It didn't seem like I was repeating myself 3 times in a row.
Mike, how about you?
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, we'll get into it for sure.
Wow. There's
eh?
a reason Mike's keeping quiet.
Hey, I'm
All
not
right.
going to go easy on these people just because they're fans. I'm going to be tough on them just like I'm tough on you guys with recommendations. So, not holding back.
Is that how it goes? All right. Well, let's see. Derek, why don't you? Well, tell you what. Let's pop into the chats real quick to say hi because, look, we can't have a delightful stream without this lovely person here. Look, here she is, Tiana. Darling, you. It's Collectors Club night, my favorite time of the month. I'm going to be a little late to the chat, but I'll be there after work. You guys rock. Mwah.
You were here first. How can you be late?
Even before we got in here.
Yeah.
Hey there, cool guys. Sounds good. Even Derek's here. What up, dog?
Yeah.
Number one fan. The monkey's here. Hey, monkey. The Collectors Club, episode 14. I tune in to your millionth. There could be never be enough. Your Collectors Club episodes are like eating the stuff. Can't get enough. And look, our rock star who inspired this entire evening, Maria, how are you, darling? Thank you so much for suggesting this. I think we all had a very interesting time, to say the least. Yeah. All right, so let's just kick it in. Derek, no fancy schmancy posters this time, so just lay it on us. What are your what are your movies?
Well, I was like, how am I going to rank these? Because we were saying they're so different. It's kind of harder to gauge based on genre. I mean, it's still a movie. You gauge it like a movie. I enjoyed all 3 of them for what they were, so I'll give points for that. And I picked it, so I can only be mad at myself, right? So my least favorite, if you want to call it that, was from Movie Warehouse 4000. I'm reading my phone. That's why I'm looking this way. He recommended a lot of really cool stuff. Like, I'm just going to put a few of them out there. The Bad Boys sequels. I've never seen any Bad Boys movie, but I didn't want to start with the 3rd and 4th one because, no thanks. Cube and Cube 2. Kick-ass movies. Go watch Cube if you haven't seen it. Equilibrium, good Matrix ripoff with Christian Bale and Sean Bean. Spoiler alert, Sean Bean dies. And he recommended Cannibal Holocaust, which I've seen, and I like that movie. So I watched The Green Inferno, which is Eli Roth's Cannibal Holocaust-inspired movie. So I was like, I've seen that. I'm going to watch the companion piece, Green Inferno. I didn't expect much going into it because I've heard pretty bad things for the most part. And I'm very hit and miss on Eli Roth. Like, I can't think of one movie he's made that I really like. I like him a lot. Like, he just seems like a cool guy, and I need to see Thanksgiving. I've heard good things about that. I'm fine with Hostel. And what else did he do? That's okay. I like him in Inglourious Bastards. That's my favorite thing he's ever done, just playing that character. But he's not the greatest writer in the world, and it shows in this. The writing is really, really corny and bad, and the acting, to be expected, is also not great. So, but I'm like, that's what I expected, but it's even bad by those standards in scenes. And if you don't know what Cannibal Holocaust is, it's a quasi found footage movie, which I usually don't like, but I like this one, where a filmmaker basically gets footage of what happened on this island of filmmakers and protesters getting cannibalized in a Holocaust of sorts. So this movie is basically just, here's the protesters protesting on this island, and here's what happens to them. They're trying to stop a forest from being bulldozed, and they succeed. Huzzah. Only to find out that, oops, there's a cannibalistic tribe 5 feet that direction. and stuff happens that you could expect from a movie like this. It has really cool special effects by Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, who are awesome makeup artists. So look into them; they're always good. They did like Day of the Dead, George Romero, all that stuff. They created the Creep Show TV show. But yeah, all in all, it's just like, yeah, this is like Cannibal Holocaust, just not as good or as unique. And it has really bad Eli Roth dialogue in it. The most famous, well-known person in this movie is the boy from Spy Kids. And that took me 10 minutes to realize it was him. Um, so I enjoyed it for what it was. I expected it to be really bad, but I just wanted to see it because I already owned it, long story short. And I like Cannibal Holocaust. But it was fine. It has some good gore in it. It has too much gore in the goriest scenes, which I'm not one to complain about that, but it would be more disturbing if it was off camera for parts of it and it was implied violence. I always think that's more effective, where if you only show one thing,
you don't have a problem with that for sure.
The rest of it, like the first guy who gets killed, I'll just say, they put him onto this rock and they don't know what the hell's happening. They like feed him blood. He's like, hey, cool. These people are nice. And they lay him down on this thing because he's all exhausted. And the chief lady comes over and just like scoops out one of his eyes and eats it. And he's like, oh, to be, and that's cool, show that I'm fine with. And then they do his other eye. And then they chop his arm off and his leg off, and his other leg off, and his other arm off. And they cut his head off. He's screaming this whole time. I'm like, you could have just shown the eye and then like maybe them slicing his throat, because why would you do that first? Logically. And then cut to the scene that was next, which was creepy, where it's just the tribes people casually cleaning off his body parts. Like it should have went from eyeball ripping, I know they're going to kill this person, it's Tuesday, let's wash up this dead body and eat it. That's creepy. The most effective scene in the movie to me was one of the girls escapes their little cage and they don't show what happens to her. And you can assume she gets killed, but given the scenario. But then the next scene, they're being fed and they're just eating whatever they're being given because, they don't want to die if they can help it. And one of the girls in the cage, who in the previous scene had explosive diarrhea for comical reasons. So it's things like, what the hell is this movie? She eats her food, and on the bottom of her bowl, she sees a tattoo of the person who escaped, like her flesh with the tattoo printed on it, which is really cool. Like that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy. That was creepy. And then you see the kids playing with the tattoos, like putting them on their bodies, like, oh, this is fun. That's the stuff I liked about it. Creepy implied violence, because you know what they're doing. You don't have to see it every single time. So yeah, if you like cannibal movies, it's fine. If you don't like cannibal movies, Huck, don't watch it.
Sounds right up my alley.
If you don't like Bone Tomahawk, which is the Citizen Kane of cannibal movies.
Oh Lord, stop it.
Odd Green Inferno. Yes. Yeah. But I enjoyed it for what it was. Would I watch it again? I'd rather watch Bone Tomahawk or Cannibal Holocaust. So it was okay. I'd give it a solid 5 out of 10. Like I'm glad I watched it, but I probably wouldn't rewatch it. But I'm glad
are we changing the scoring system
now?
Is that a 10 now?
You gotta stick with our rating system, Derek. It's 5 stars.
There you go. You don't like the half, so I did 5 out of 10.
No. In the middle. Mike doesn't like the half. We're fine with halves.
Okay, 2.5 out of 5. There you go.
He's not into the half thing.
But I was fine. It was exactly what I expected it to be. So I was fine with it.
Nice.
Next up. So yeah,
you unsold me on that, by the way.
It has some really cool scenes in it, and then 90% of it is like, okay, it's this movie. I'm trying to find the next person here. Where is he? Dave. Can't find him on this list. Dave Paul. I'll just remember it from memory. He recommended Serpico with the great Al Pacino, and I'm really bad at watching Al Pacino movies for some reason. I seriously have only seen 4. And 70s Pacino is like peak Pacino, and all I've really seen is The Godfather. So I needed to go and see Serpico finally. And he's really good in the movie, as always, especially back then, before he became a joke and a caricature of himself the last 30 years. He is playing a real-life cop who becomes an undercover cop, essentially, who constantly interacts with within the department, like criminal activity, like they're constantly taking bribes and such, and he's trying to basically make the cops accountable for being everyone's a dirty cop except for him situation. And it's exactly like any one of those movies, except it has really good acting and writing. It's fine. It's a perfectly fine movie. I just wasn't crazy interested in it outside of it just being generally well made. And it's, if you've seen any, undercover cop fight the system movie, you've seen Serpico minus the Al Pacino performance. It was shot in reverse, which is cool because he's like at the beginning of the movie, he's basically gets killed, but not really. Like you think he's gonna die because he gets shot in the face, and he's full of Pacino 70s beard and hair. And then it cuts to him joining the force, and he has like no beard and short hair. So they shot the hippie Pacino first that worked their way down, cutting his hair through the 5 years till he looked younger, which is always interesting when they have to shoot a movie like that. And it's done well. I liked it for everything it's worth. It's just what I was trying to think of how to describe it, and the only thing for some reason that popped in my head, I was at work, and this is how my brain works when I'm sitting there for doing nothing for 5 minutes. I was like, this movie's like a ham and cheese sandwich, a cold ham and cheese sandwich, but it wasn't a cold ham and cheese sandwich first. It was a hot ham and cheese sandwich, but it took me 40 years to finally eat it. So by the time I got around to it, I'm like, yeah, this is good, but I really wish I would have eaten it when it was a hot ham and cheese sandwich in 1973. And it probably would have had more impact. But it's a good movie, and it's definitely worth a watch. So I would give it a 3 out of 5. It's another solid yes, you should see it. But if you don't love it, I understand, kind of a thing. But I'm glad I finally watched it. Now I need to go watch Dog Day Afternoon.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Honestly, I couldn't remember which one was which until I started watching it, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's this one. Okay.
Right.
Last but not least, which is ironically first, Brian and Charles, which is a movie I did want to see to begin with because I saw the trailers when it came out and it looked adorable and weird and hilarious. And I, just like I am, adorable, weird, and hilarious in every way. And I'm also a robot, so that fits because I have machine parts inside of me. But that's just a coincidence. This is by Maria, by the way, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. The inspiration to this whole show. Huh?
Yes,
yeah. Maria.
Like yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, she and I had to talk about
that. We try.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how to describe this movie. It's a very simple movie. It's literally a guy who makes things for fun. He's kind of like a fix-it guy. I don't understand how he has money to even live in this little village in Wales. He seems to be kind of like a handyman around the town. They only really showing him do like one thing for somebody else in the entire movie, but it's just kind of implied. He just has a bunch of junk lying around his house, and it shows him making these really stupid inventions. Like the first thing he shows, he's trying to film himself making a flying cuckoo clock, where it's like a giant industrial-sized fan on the end of a bike with a clock attached to it that he's going to pedal and fly around town. And surprise, it doesn't work and it starts on fire. So that's the kind of stuff he makes. And it's shot in this quasi-documentary fashion, which was the most surprising thing, where he's talking to the camera, which was weird and it was unnecessary, but it didn't bother me because like the whole movie could have been shot like a normal movie and it would have changed nothing to the story. Like they don't show you the person filming it. It's just kind of like a way for him to interact with the audience, which makes it a little more, I don't know, heartfelt in scenes. But he eventually makes Charles, Brian is the man, Charles is his robot friend he makes out of an old dishwasher, or not dishwasher, but a washing machine covered in like a suit and like a mannequin head. And they don't show him making him really. They don't explain how he works. The biggest explanation you get is he didn't work right away. And then one of my mice in my shed walked through him and connected wires that weren't all the way connected, and now he works. And he's like this adorable little robot that speaks hilarious English and has these weird little catchphrases, and he reads the dictionary when he's not home, so he's like really smart all of a sudden, and he wants to go to Honolulu because he sees it on the TV and it looks pretty, so he's constantly trying to run away to Honolulu. He makes himself hula skirts and stuff. It's really weird and stupid, but it's great. So there's this girl in town that kind of likes Brian and vice versa, but they never really get a chance to talk. They're both very shy, awkward people. And there's the jerk of the neighborhood with his 2 jerk daughters and wife. who have this like bonfire thing every year, and they just constantly like steal things and throw it on the fire. And long story short, they eventually get to Charles. I'll just say that. And so they kidnap Charles out of his house, and that's like the climax of the film. But in between there's a lot of really adorable conversations. Like he's teaching him to play darts, and he's showing him around the neighborhood, and he starts to rebel because he doesn't want to bring him into town because he doesn't want anyone to know that he's there and what he is, because people want to take him away from him, which obviously happens. And so he starts like immediately turning into like a 12-year-old boy, and it's hilarious, where he's just like listening to heavy metal music in the attic really loud for some reason, and constantly bickering and yelling at him and fighting with him. It's really funny. It's just a weird movie that's really adorable. Doesn't overstay its welcome. It's like a swift 91 minutes long. And if you like British humor, which I usually do, and the actor, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, he's in the show Derek, which I think I mentioned, and which is ironic, but it's a good show. Watch Derek. It's on Netflix. This guy is in it. He's hilarious. He's like basically a bum who walks around. He's like the same character in this as he is in that show. It's just how his like persona, I guess. But if you like really weird, cute, funny movies, and you aren't irritated by very British accents and humor, Brian and Charles is a hell of a time, and it was adorable. It's like one of those movies that's like pulls at your heartstrings, despite how stupid it is. And it did that for me. So I recommend that one highly. I would give it a solid 4 out of 5. Like, it's just adorable. It's adorable. So I'm glad I watched that.
So how was the accent on that? Were they super thick, or was it pretty good?
I mean, you can understand everything he was saying for the most part. I didn't need subtitles. I'll put it that way. Luckily, the robot has robot voice, but it's adorable British robot voice.
Right.
But the main guy, he kind of talks like this, and he's really thick accent. He's just so grumbly. But everything he says sounds like this. So it's just funny. And like just his tone of voice made me laugh, which always helps. But you could understand him, without subtitles. It's that kind of accent. It's not like a thick Irish accent kind of movie where you need subtitles sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And I may have missed it. What did you give Serpico?
A 3 out of 5.
Great. All right.
It was good. Solid movie. Just, I was 40 years too late, like I said.
Nice. All right. So it sounds like you had a good time there. All right. Let's
they're all
see.
fun to watch. Yeah.
Popping in. Movie Hunters here. Evening. Fish. Our favorite fish. Hello, my favorite collector friend. Hello. Hey there, everybody. Adrian James, of course, tuning in. Everybody getting some haze in. Adrian says, Huck is the only one who's clean. I know.
That's his gimmick.
It's because as soon as the beard starts coming in, there's too many white hairs, and my wife goes, "You look old. Shave that." That's actually that baby face, y'all. Yeah. You don't look old like some people. Okay, hey, Fish. Movie Hunter. Oh, wait, let's see. He says, I wonder what Huck would look like with a big beard. All right, I'll Photoshop. Who's got the honking? I guess Mike. Mike's got this. It's continuing to grow down, right? Are you going ZZ Top on us, Mike? Is Mike frozen?
No, I'm here.
I don't think he's that patient. I'm not.
Do you even know who ZZ Top is?
I don't know what you're talking about. ZZ Top.
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
that old.
You seen Back to the Future 3, right? They're in that.
Come on, they spin the guitar long. Forget it. All right, let's move on.
Music, old people stuff.
Sharp-dressed men and all
God. Just the odd one out. Yeah, we would definitely be one of those Sesame Street screens where like one of these things is not like the other.
Okay, no Sesame Street. Now I'm listening.
Yeah. My favorite subscribers. Hey, Sarah says, hey, everybody getting the haze in. It's like being at the morning mug. Everyone just popping up a chair saying, hey, Tiana. Yeah, it's nice that Tiana's popping in. Sarah, look at that. Sorry, I'm just popping in. If it's just a bunch of haze, y'all just tagging you there. The monkey says, I just want to say one spoiler. Huck, your John Travolta pick soundtrack was my introduction to Pitbull, and I've been loving his music since, but no song of his albums since ever captured that feeling again. He goes, interesting. Fish. Hello. My gosh, look at everybody here tonight, y'all. They've come to enjoy, to see what our take is off of what they think we will enjoy.
Yeah.
Derek.
He's like, yep, I knew you'd like that one. Like as soon as I picked it before I even watched it, I was like, yeah, I know I'll like it.
See, she pays attention to us. She does. Look at
More
that.
so than I do, sadly.
I think
myself.
all of us, right? Oh, nice. Keep on
a lot
reaching.
of
Reach
videos.
for the stars. Nice. Let's see. Look at that. Steelbook's cool. I like weird movies. Who doesn't?
You'd
All
like
right,
Brian
let's,
probably, Tiana. That's cute.
Let's see. It says Boy in the Heron, First Blood Stallone, The Gate. Oh, these are all things you have. Cool. Moon Knight saw X. Let's see. I loved how Charles loved cabbage.
yeah. For some reason, the robot has to eat, and all he ever constantly makes is cabbages. He has like a garbage where he stores his cabbages. He eats so many of them, and that's before he even makes the robot.
Oh yeah, just loves that
it's just
cabbage.
like
And by the
cabbages.
way, Caprice is here. Hello, darling. Mike, give her some of that. Give her some of the hearts. Go ahead. It's for everybody out there. Some hearts.
Give us some Macintosh.
Oh, you're not. Your magic isn't
Last
working.
time I did
There
it,
it is.
there you go.
There you go. You gotta put me fuller screen for the hearts. You know, you can't keep me.
Oh, is that it? Yeah.
Don't keep me in a box, Huck. You gotta unleash me.
Unleash the
Put Mike
love.
in the corner and other quotes
Right.
from the movie.
All right, let's drop down and go Tim next. Tim cannot wait.
Okay, so we'll go in order from least favorite to favorite. I won't rewatch this first one, but I'm happy I saw it. This is from Michael, I believe, is who recommended it, and it is Vanishing Point. The first two I'm going to talk about, I actually already owned in the collection, just never got around to watching. So this gave me a reason to watch the movie that's been sitting in my collection, which, that's what I buy them for, to watch them. So I'm glad. But to sum up plot of this movie, there really isn't one. It is a guy is delivering a car from point A to point B, decides that he wants to make it a police chase needlessly, and then the whole movie is just the police chase going on as he's crossing state line to state line. I heard how many great things about this movie, and I love car chases and stuff. It was weird. So the music did not seem to fit for me for the most part. Like it was the score and the music choices just weren't jiving with a chunk of the movie. And what's weird is the movie at times would feel like Smokey and the Bandit or something like that. And at other times it would feel like Bullet. Those are two drastically different car movies. Like some of the scenes play out serious and other ones have this like hokey music going as the cops are chasing them. And it didn't jive for me at all. And then I'm not someone that says I need all the backstory to a character. If a movie is pretty self-contained to a small amount of time, which this is taking place over like 2 days and it's all car chase. I don't need to know the guy's backstory at all. His backstory doesn't mean really anything, but what they do is they intersperse these like 10 to 15 second clips throughout that are like, hey, he was a great race car driver, a great motorcycle racer, and all these different things to, I guess, give you the context to his background. And they didn't really add anything for me. Like in the end, they told me nothing of substance that I really cared about at all. So even by the end of the movie, I'm still like, yeah, he's some dude that just was in a car chase. It didn't work. They try to put in this other character that is a radio station DJ that for some reason really latches on to him and is trying to cheer him on throughout. And he's telling him different directions over the radio. Didn't really care about his character. I didn't care about a lot what was going on. It was what gives it the score it gets, at least, is there is some cool car chase stuff. So that's pretty much the only redeeming thing for me. It's a 2 out of 5 because there's really cool filmed car chases. But I preferred the stuff that was more Bullet than the stuff that was Smokey and the Bandit. Like it needed to lean into one of the directions, but like it gets so ridiculous over the top with no explanation. On later in the movie, he runs across a woman who's riding in the middle of the desert, completely naked on a motorcycle, buck naked on a motorcycle.
Right.
No
like
idea.
you do in the desert. Yeah,
Exactly. Like you do. And it's why? Like, what's funny is this whole movie could have been PG. Besides, they just threw in like a scene like that, and there's another scene of nudity, which I'm not a prude. I'm not against nudity. I love nudity, but like this girl just randomly naked on a motorcycle in the middle of the desert. I'm like, what is this?
All right. So I just looked up the year. It is 1971, where you had to toss in some gratuitous nudity. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's
Like, we need the
absurd.
teenage boy crowd. Throw in that scene.
Look, we got a solid PG. What can we do to screw that up? A, get naked, ride a bike in the desert. All right. That's
Yeah.
pretty hilarious.
None of you have seen it then, right?
And you
I
have not won
all I
me
know
over.
of it is that we talk about it
It's on
constantly.
my
in
radar
Death
now.
Row.
Yeah, which radar, Mike?
It's
Fire. Right?
it's a cult classic to people though. And
Yeah.
when I picked it up cheap, it's out of print, I guess, and I picked it up like $4. And in one of my videos, people are like, "Oh, you're gonna love that. It's so great." And now I watch it, and I'm like, I'm not really. I'm not returning to that one.
What they meant was the car chases are done well.
Yeah,
Because that's the only thing about the movie I know, anyways, for obvious reasons now.
Yeah. It's basically a montage of car chase stuff with a shitty movie wrapped around it. That's
Fantastic.
So
now I'm
Fury Road.
in. Now I'm in. All right.
Tell me when to
So-
skip, and then I'll watch it.
the next one, which 4K lowdown, I believe, for Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Mhm.
All right, this was the last one I watched. I dug this. First of all, no idea this was a Sidney Lumet movie. This was apparently his last movie. It's good. It's a heist movie. I'm already kind of a sucker for heist movies. It's on a very small scale, though. They're not trying to pull off this huge, elaborate robbery. It is two brothers deciding to rob their family's jewelry store, and just everything goes wrong. And the whole movie is pretty much just unfolding character by character in going forward and backward in the timeline, which I'm not opposed to. I understood it perfectly fine. I don't know what it added to it. You guys saw it, I know, right? I know, Mike, I know you saw it.
Unfortunately,
It
yeah.
is a long time, yeah.
So, like I said, I understood it completely by the end, but it's unfolding by it's showing you the one brother. It's showing up to a certain point in time. Then it's showing what's happening with the other brother, and it zooms back. And then it's zooming forward to catch what's happening with the father. Then it zooms back. Then it zooms forward. And I don't really know what that added necessarily. Like, I think this would have been fine in chronological. I don't feel like the jumping around. This isn't Memento. Like this, it wasn't one of those movies I felt like it needed that. So that was kind of I don't know, threw me out, because I'm like getting invested in what's happening on one scene, and it's like, yeah, we're done here. We're stopping this. We're pressing pause, and we're going to zoom back to what happened with this brother, and we're going to cover him for a bit. Then we'll come back. That was my main critique, honestly. Otherwise, the theme score to it, like the main motif theme is carried throughout the whole movie. Very, very freaking good. Performances, Philip Seymour Hoffman like never misses. He's great. Ethan Hawke never misses. Marissa Tomei is mostly there. She has like a moment, but for the most part, she just plays the cheating wife. I was like, oh, Marissa Tomei, and I was like, yeah, she's there. She exists in the movie.
Yes, but does she ride topless on a motorcycle in the desert? That's what we want to know.
You gotta see plenty of her.
Yeah, she is topless many times.
Okay.
Opening
Yeah,
scene. You get right in there.
But like I said, I enjoy those type of movies though, where everything goes wrong, and that's what this is. Like, everything about this robbery just goes horribly wrong for everybody involved. It was mainly that the way it was edited. It came down to the editing style on how they went back and forth. It just didn't jive for me. I don't felt like it added to the story or how it was told.
Nice. It's a good movie though. The parents are good too, isn't it? It's Rosemary Harris. Is it Albert Finney who's the dad?
Yeah, Albert Finney, and you
God,
have
I can't really remember that. I haven't seen that since it came out.
you have two Aunt Mays in the movie.
Oh,
Rosemary
right.
Harris
That's fine.
and Marissa Tomei. You got
Real
two
one and
different-
the
that's
hot
fine.
one.
but
Solid movie,
I-
though, yeah.
Interesting.
the acting is great, music's great, and the
Mhm.
core of the story is great. Like I said, it's just how the story unfolds. So it's a 3. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. I think if it went chronological, I might have liked it a little bit more.
Yeah,
I wonder if it was
sometimes when
written
you
that
try
way
to-
or if it was edited that way because it seemed boring or something. And
Yeah,
they
maybe.
re-edited it.
Yeah, sometimes you can't try to be too creative when it's unnecessary.
Mhm.
I'll be
Yeah.
talking about that as well.
What did you, Mike? Because since I know you said you didn't like it.
The stupidest premise for a movie ever. It's like the kids want to rob their parents. It makes no sense. Just go ask them if they'll loan you the money. Like, come on. We would have solved the whole movie's problem in 2 minutes. It was so stupid.
You didn't like
You,
Fargo
you
either.
gotta
I
see
don't like
Marissa
that.
Tomei, though. That's the reason to watch the movie. Lots of yum in there. So I give it that.
PSH.
I understood their thought process going in on like, hey, we rob all this though, and our parents won't be out any money because insurance will cover it. Like in
Yeah.
theory, if it went as planned, nobody is hurt. They're just committing insurance fraud essentially after.
Yeah.
But it didn't go as planned. So that's how otherwise there would be no movie if it went as planned.
Right. It's basically Fargo, which I never even thought of until you were explaining the whole movie. I'm like, it's Fargo without the comedy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I was like, no wonder Mike doesn't like it. He hates
Flashback.
Fargo more than anything else. But it's pretty much Fargo without the comedy. It's a bad plan that goes wrong, and shit
Yeah.
happened. So
I think a simple conversation would have totally fixed that issue. It just
But yeah, anyways, like I said, 3 out of 5, and it could have had more potential for like a 4 if it was just done a little differently. But it's
Cool.
Sidney Lumet. I mean, that's a rock star amount of people involved, though.
Oh, yeah.
Sidney Lumet,
Mhm.
Ethan Hawke, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Marissa Tomei. I mean,
I
killer.
think I bought that the day Philip Seymour Hoffman died too, because I worked at the old pawn shop at the time. And my wife told me, and I like screamed like no, and then my phone cut out just randomly, so she thought I like hung up on her. But then I found it like 5 minutes later on Blu-ray. I was like, I need it.
It's funny. I just rewatched Twister to get ready for Twisters, and he's so good in that. They said he was the last one. Jan de Bond said it was the last role he couldn't. He was having trouble casting, and as soon as Philip walked in, he's like, he was kind of already dressed that way, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, there he is!" And it's so great when someone walks in, and you go, "That's that guy."
I was actually reading, so I don't know about you guys. I always go on the IMDb like trivia after a movie.
Yeah,
It's
yep.
happened.
Often.
But apparently Sidney Lumet said that Philip Seymour Hoffman's one scene in a car in this is his favorite piece of acting in any of his movies. And it is a really good scene. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman has basically like a breakdown about how his father treated him when he was younger. Like it's excellent acting. He's good. But he's a scene stealer in all his
Yeah.
movies. He's a scene
Oh
stealer.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
the best part of everything he's in. Even Twister.
Like Gene Hackman, best part
Right,
of
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
All right, and your number one, sir.
So my number one, this is a 5 out of 5, recommended by Marriott, is I, Daniel Blake. The one I don't own is a 5 out of 5. This is a Criterion title, and damn it, I'm picking this up. So this is a frustrating movie to watch purely because this is about the inadequacies of the system. This takes place in England, but a lot of what you're watching, the frustration, if anyone American watching would feel some of those same frustrations because we do the same bullshit here. This is about a guy who had a heart attack, is told by his doctors, you can't work. And the insurance person basically for the actual state decides you can work. You need to find a job. So it's this whole back and forth on him trying to get money from the government because he can't work. They're telling him he has to. It's all this back and forth. You can't you can't fill out this form or do this until you filled out this form and do this. The guy's 59 years old, doesn't know how to use a computer. They're telling him everything has to be done on computer. The whole movie is frustrating to watch because it is the government basically just saying, fuck you, figure it out. That's essentially what it is. And we do the same shit here to people. It's so maddening to watch. I was very angry watching this movie, and there's no happy moments in it though. The happiest stuff is like he befriends a woman who is also struggling to get by. She has no money. The system is jerking her around. So he befriends her and her kids. And that's about the only sense of happiness, is the friendship and bond that they form while they're all struggling. It's such a maddening movie. It actually reminded me a lot, even though they're completely different plots, of A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks.
Right.
It reminded me of it because, he's an older guy who lost his wife, befriends a younger. This is just a single woman and her kids, but same basic idea, and it's just a friendship going throughout the movie. And by the end, I mean it hit similar beats. It reminded me of it. It's just this movie is more maddening because it's so damn true. That's the thing. Like, I'm watching it, I'm like, shit, we do this similar type of shit in the United States. We jerk people around. We tell people, we deny them coverage on things that they need to get done. It's
totally, yep.
It's so frustrating. So if you want to watch something that is true to life, frustrating, but excellent acting, the main guy, for his first movie, that was his first movie. He's so good. Everyone in this, it's a fantastic movie. Like, I get why this did great at BAFTA, because it's freaking great, but it's maddening.
Yeah, but it seems like right up your alley. It's got that tone that you like.
So I watched it alone this morning. I was so close to crying. Like, I'm not just saying like slightly. Like, I was like fighting back tears by the end, because it is God, it's a frustrating movie. It really freaking is. It's just, they didn't. I mean, it's British movie. It's not Hollywood, but they didn't glam anything up or do anything to make the movie punch more. Like, no, the system's screwed up enough. They didn't need to do anything else. Like, this is how shit is.
Right.
Oh, so frustrating.
Wow.
Anyway,
Well, there you go. I think that's two for two, right? With Maria having the number one spot.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that continues.
If you didn't take out Daniel Blake, I probably would have, because I've been wanting to see that since it came out.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that as well.
That Criterion, I'm snatching that thing up. Like, I rented it this morning for $4. I'm like, shit, I should have just spent the 20 and bought it on the sale.
But now you didn't know, right?
Yeah.
So this is a good thing to bring up here at the halfway mark to let everyone know when we began this particular one. So we had a lot of recommendations, which we greatly appreciated. And it came from many different people and many different suggestions from several people. And we just sort of weighed them all in personally. One, whether we'd seen them or not. Many of them suggestions we had seen, so we pushed those to the side. And then, if we could, we tried to take something from different people just to kind of spread the love, if you will. So that's why we're picking the ones we picked, in case y'all want to know. Let's get back to the chat, y'all. Check it out. The Monkey says, Marvel's ain't weird. It's a heroin masterpiece. Well, look at that. Aaron James says, I think a sci-fi robot stream would be good. I agree, Mr. James. I'm on it. You know me and some robots. Who wants to be on that? Rack Like the Movie Man says, hey, Huck, and everyone just got home a little bit ago from seeing Twisters. I mentioned that earlier. Let's see. I'm going to say it's, I like the movie, but it doesn't live up to the first one.
I mean, that's a hard task. I forget.
It is.
One.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's funny because I literally just rewatched it, and no matter, like, I get it. It's early CGI with that Twister, but they had to invent the technology to make the Twisters.
Yeah.
And, again, like you, Tim, when you go to IMDb, I instantly watch making of stuff after the movie. I'm looking up Helen Hunt to see what other awards she's won because she's so good. I'm just like, yeah, it's terrific. Hello, darling. Hello. Let's see. Get some hello darlings in there for you. Seeing who else is new. Hey, Derek. Yeah, there's like all that love there. Let's see. Here's one for you. Okay, we have a Donner Pass Whiskey. Oh, nice shirt, Mike.
Yeah,
Hey,
I said that too before we started.
get my vote.
Honestly, at this point, he's getting my vote too. I'm right in Lex Luthor.
Donner Pass Whiskey, thanks for being here tonight. Your name sounds new to me. Perhaps you've watched a bunch before. Is this your first time chiming in? If so, welcome, my friend. Are anyone familiar? Is Donner on your channels?
My middle name, so that's cool. But other than that, no.
Nice. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So to Tim, there's a country song about your movie called "When You're Going Through Hell."
I guess that's about Vanishing Point.
I guess so. All right.
Tis.
She says, earlier I recommended Everything Goes Wrong movie to you, The Out of Towners with Jack Lemmon, Sandy Dennis. Did you watch?
Not yet, but that will be watched. I promise.
Oh, Jack Lemmon's always good.
Yeah, you're doing very well with us, so I think, yeah. Man, I knocked it out of the park with Derek and Tim. Oh, yeah. We'll see. Will you keep the script going, lady? Will you keep it
You both
going?
like both those things. It works.
We're going to find out. Oh, look at this before we move on to Draculina. Look at you, darling. And gifted 5 memberships. Oh, look at you. Amazing, my dear. Thank you. Thank you for that.
There you go.
Great. I got
Mike's one with that because I don't know how to do that if I could.
It says, have you seen the original Swedish version of A Man Called Otto? I have not.
I was just saying, I'm pretty sure that was a remake, but I was like, I don't think it's a remake of that movie.
No, the original is Man Called Ove. That
was nominated for best makeup or something at the Oscars. I remember that.
Yeah, I need to see it.
Well, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for that. Caprice, you're so kind. All right, I'm curious who gets them though. Has anyone? I know they sort of, Mike. You're sort of like you've gotten a few of these. That they just sort of go to people who have. I believe you have to go to your settings to accept things like that, and then suddenly you'll get the membership.
Yeah, so you got to turn on gifted membership. So audience members, make sure you do that. And then it just goes to whoever interacts with the channel most. So, and you will see the people that got them here today. Like when you scroll down, I'm sure they interact a lot with the channel, leaving comments, watching videos, liking videos, all that good stuff. That gives you a higher chance to get a gift.
Oh, there it is. So here's what it doesn't say it on my chat here, but on the live stream, we have Collective Movie Man, Fish, Sarah, Ben Grimm, and Laren and Dell. All got a membership. Look at you guys. I got to update my chalkboard. All right, let's keep it moving. Macaroni, what you got, broski?
All right, macaroni. It's time to start cooking, right? You turn on the stove, I get the cooking. All right.
Right, baby. Let's go. Turn up the heat.
Well, there will be no rants today. These were all very solid, well-made movies. So, man, I love a good rant too. So that's a little unfortunate. Well, let's start with the first one, which was from Dave Paul, I believe, right? Collector Movie Man. I think they're the same person. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, they recommended Remains of the Boring. Yes, Remains of the Day. Remains of the Day. Sorry, I got that wrong. I got that wrong. I don't know why I got mixed up in my head right there. Okay, Remains of the Day. So let me try to recap this super long movie. It was like 2 hours and a half. Oh my gosh. Is this Avatar? Is this Titanic? No,
it's about like Ivory Merchant stuff, right?
It's about a bunch of butlers. That's what I can say. So let me try to remember this movie.
Here we go.
Not much happens here. All right. Is this man? You guys fill in the blanks. Are they in Germany or Britain? It's one of the two.
Didn't see it, so
your faces. You have to go.
You really make me want to get that.
Okay.
This is not my cup of tea.
It's in some European country. And it focuses on this big mansion. And we got butlers here. We got Anthony Hopkins, phenomenal actor. He's really good in this movie. He's good in every movie. So I expected that. But he is the head butler. So he's like the butler boss. You don't mess with him or you're gone as a lower butler. And he don't take no trash. He'll kick you out of there, no problem. All right. So he's basically just leading these butlers to do a good job and serve the Lord. Not the Lord, but you know what I mean, the Lord of the house, the
Lord of the manor.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. But that's really what it's about. Just the relationships between the butlers. There's this female that becomes a butler too, and they have like a father and daughter kind of relationship. He's mentoring her. She'll always tell him what's up because he's kind of he will sugarcoat stuff. He's not really, I guess punchy with how he says stuff, but she'll be like, dude, don't do that. That's wrong. That's a bad move to do. So she's more, I guess, extrovert. I guess you could say he's more introvert. But that's what it is. They're serving all the Lord people. The Lord people have meetings about political stuff that's going on with the war. I think it's World War II. Yes, World War II would make sense here. And you have different people from different countries showing up and talking. Like you got an American guy. I forgot what the actor's name is. No. Oh, Christopher Reeves, Superman guy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in this. There you go.
Oh, really?
He's the American representative. There you go. Right, I'm wearing the Lex Luthor.
Wow.
That makes sense. Totally.
That.
So yeah, he's a American. I think so. Hopefully, he's the American representative guy, and yeah, he's just talking about politics stuff while the butlers are serving them. Oh, and then the butler brings on his dad, who's like super old, and because he's super old, he's falling all over the place, and then they got to downgrade him. They're like, okay, you can't do this super high butler service where you're serving the table anymore. You got to go do these other chores, and oh my, it's so sad because it's like it's his dad. Oh, yeah, so that's unfortunate. But why would you bring on your super old dad as a butler anyway? I don't know. Wild. But that's really what the story is. Why does this need to be 2.5 hours? I don't know. The story doesn't go anywhere. It's a lot of talky, very slow moving. Eventually the girl leaves. The main actress, she gets married. Oh, and that's a problem in this butler house. Apparently these butlers are running off with each other, getting married, and they always have to replace the butlers because the young butlers are always like getting married with each other. So that's something that comes up, but that's really what it's about. It's just about, I guess, the hiring and staffing practices of Butlerland. There you go.
Butlerland.
If you wanted that movie.
Do you get to see any hot butler sex or no?
No yum yum. 2.5 hours
riding a motorcycle.
Any yum yum. Like, come on. Like Titanic, it's long, but you get the yum yum in it. Avatar, it's long, but you get the weird sci-fi Avatar yum yum, right? With the cords connected. This no butler yum yum. It was very unfortunate. So yeah,
Emma Thompson's stuff. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. And then it just ends, and it does this nice wide sweeping shot of the manor and all these fields. And then I was thinking back to Witness with all the grain again. I'm like, stop doing these shots where you're just focusing on the landscape for like 5 minutes. Let's move on. Come on, pick up the pace. Let's go.
Don't be trashing Witness now.
It's pretty. It's perfect.
So yeah, it's a pretty looking movie. The production, the set design's all there. The acting's really good. It's pretty much your prime artsy fartsy Oscar nominee type of movie that nobody will care to rewatch more than once. That's the type of movie. There you go.
That's my favorite movie.
It's a Tim movie.
Yeah,
That's why I was shocked when you said you didn't see it, Tim. This is totally a Tim movie for sure, 100%.
I think Ivory Merchant is known for these type of films. So that
I actually kind of want to watch it more now because I didn't know what it was about, and just like hearing the gist of it, I'm like, okay, now I can go into it knowing what it's about.
You want to learn about the butler life? There you go.
You
learn a lot about it.
Your questions will be answered.
All right, so I will rank this as a 3. Very solid. Once again, well-made movie, but I don't need to watch this one again. Thank goodness I chose it, and it was streaming on Prime. So, yay! I didn't have to buy the 4K. That was like $18. Oh my gosh, that would have been terrible. But there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So remains of the day.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Next up. Ooh. All right. Let's see. We'll go Requiem for a Dream. Yes. All right. This is by David. What's his name? Aronofsky? Is that how you say it? Okay, there you go. The whale guy.
You made me forget his name because you said it wrong. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, Aaron.
Right. That's not his first name.
There you go. He directed The Whale. And I really like The Whale. So I was hoping this would be fine. And yeah, it's very solid of a movie. You got Jennifer Connelly in there, Marlon Wayans, you have Joaquin Phoenix, so they're really the main trio of characters. Also,
Jared Leto.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Jared
Oh,
Leto.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
They all look the same. Joaquin Phoenix, Jared Leto, Jake Gyllenhaal. They're all the same
Just
person.
because they both
okay?
play Joker, they're not the same
That
person.
guy. That guy. Okay. Wait. So who was it again?
It's Jared Leto. Give me
Jared
more Jared
Leto.
Leto.
Okay. Other
that
Joker,
guy-
Joker number 2. Or Joker number, I don't know. Joker number 4 at this point.
Joker
whatever.
nobody likes.
All right. Well, anyway, so this movie I actually quite liked it because everybody
Great.
does something terrible and they get their comeuppance in the end. So it's like a public service announcement to not do bad things. So you got pretty much the trio. They start doing just terrible actions. They start doing drugs, really, really bad, harsh drugs. And then you just kind of see what happens to them all. And I'm going to spoil this right now. So if you don't like spoilers, too bad. It's getting spoiled for you, but it won't change what you think of the movie.
25 years old. You can spoil it.
Jared Leto, he gets his arm cut off eventually because of the drugs he's injecting. His arm starts to look really nasty. Eventually, they got to cut it off by the end. But I'm like, good. Don't do drugs, people. Good lesson learned. I like that. Jennifer Connelly starts whoring around. You get to see some Yum Yum, though. Yeah. Clap for Yum
Yeah.
Yum. So that was
Yeah,
good.
It's all drugged out Yum Yum. So it's not like hot.
It could have been better, but
Yeah.
we worked with what we got here. After remains of the boring, you take what you get. All right, so Jennifer Connelly starts whoring around to get money from, I guess, these influential kind of people that are scumbags as well. And then she's a scumbag because she's whoring around on Jared Leto. And you just could tell that relationship wasn't going anywhere. It's just awful. But eventually she ends up in like this whore ring at the end. And they're like doing dildo anal stuff back to back. I don't know. Something's happening. Okay. But anyway, it says, don't be a whore. That's a very good life lesson. I like that. Very good.
Don't do drugs. Don't be a whore.
Yes.
Okay, life
And
lesson.
then Marlon Wayans, he does drugs
Yeah.
too, but he gets involved with the wrong crowd. He, wrong place at the wrong time, but he was doing criminal actions. So once again, don't be a criminal or bad things are going to happen. And he gets thrown in prison. So yes, got his comeuppance as well. And then also the mom. I don't know the actress that played the mom. She has a really interesting story, though.
She's great.
She wants to wear a dress, a skinny dress. She wants to lose weight. She starts taking all these different medications, and she eventually fits into the dress, but she gets addicted to them. Once again, saying addiction is bad. She's watching TV a lot. It kind of reminded me of the Joker, actually, a little bit. You know how Joker guys always watching TV and stuff? She's always watching TV. And eventually she gets sent to the psych ward at the end. They start electrocutioning her brain. I thought that was overkill for her. I'm like, she was just trying to fit into a dress. So that was a little sad. Like, okay, yeah, maybe she took it a little too far with the certain pills and whatnot. But that was the saddest one. The rest of the people were like, good riddance. Get rid of that. The mom was sadder. I'm like, come on. It was probably the doctor's fault for recommending that stuff. She was old. They probably took advantage of her as a senior citizen. So that was the only one I'm like, nah, that was a little sad, but it was all about addiction. Same thing with the Whale. Whale was about addiction and overeating and all that. But what I like about this director is, so he'll create a sad ending, but it's still an ending with purposes and themes and messages everybody can learn from as a cautionary tale. So it ends up being positive for the audience. It's not just sad and we're left, oh, so sad, depressing. This movie was nothing. We didn't learn anything. It's like, no, sad thing happened to the characters where sad things needed to happen, but everybody gets to rejoice because they learned something good. So yeah, I think this movie should be shown to a lot of people. So you don't do drugs, you don't do criminal activities, you don't be whoring around, you don't get addicted to stuff. So public service announcement movie. So it was pretty good. I will give this one a solid 4. I would rewatch this one once in a while. Once again, it's a good cautionary tale. So yeah, 4 for sure. But you guys have seen this one, right? What did anybody else think?
I did not rejoice at the end of this movie.
I guess they're all
bad
alive.
people. They were all
ending?
bad. It was a good thing what
They're
happened.
not bad. It's not bad people. People make bad choices. That doesn't make people bad people. bad choices.
Yeah, they're all nice
No,
enough.
they
people
got their
for the most
bad
part.
consequences then. They
Yeah.
got rightful consequences.
Damn, man, some sympathy for.
I was
Holy
sympathetic
shit.
for the mom. The mom was an old lady. I could understand her.
I can't think of her name. It's driving me crazy.
But
She's
for
from The Exorcist.
whores, no sympathy. Sorry, I got charged.
What's her name from The Exorcist? Anyone? The mom in The Exorcist.
There we go.
What's her
Charge
name?
my-
Burns.
Ellen Bernstein.
Ellen
Yeah,
Bernstein.
Ellen Bernstein. That's the mom, and she's amazing in that movie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's so good.
She should have won Best Actress for Requiem.
that-
She's great, and the score is amazing too. The score.
Oh
is
yes, the score is
Get
great.
Out,
Yeah.
Captain Stand, and a lot of you
And
don't
it's
come home
fast-paced.
during the peak of the movie, like my wife did last time I watched it, and she was like, "This is so fucking annoying. What is this?" Because it's really heavy.
In your
It's a
face. And it's
very
very
inclusive
fast
score.
pace. I love the editing here. It moves very quickly. Like this is a movie you need to move quickly to keep us interested. So I like when they're flashing between the different images and what's happening at the end. It's like, boo, boo, boo. It's like, okay, good. I like this.
Yeah,
Did you buy that one?
it builds and builds.
No,
and
I did
builds.
not buy this one. No.
Okay.
You make me
No,
want to watch it though, because
no.
I have that Lionsgate 4K I've had since.
That's
it
what I
came
was
out.
wondering if you grabbed that Steelbook. Because
I was like, oh, it's so good. I need to watch it sometime.
Yeah.
No,
It
I'll
was
watch it again.
streaming on, I think I saw on Tubi maybe.
Yes. It's a
Something
great
like
movie though. And Keith David is in it. He's great too.
oh yeah,
For
it's
his
great.
part.
And your number one then.
Number one, Men of Honor. And oh wait, I forgot to shout out Requiem for a Dream was from
Sure.
Eli Cortez. Okay, Men of Honor was from, neighbor over there, 4K Lowdown. So I was excited to see this one. It seemed like a very just easy watching movie, and it totally was. There's definitely some intensity here, but you got Cuba Gooding Jr. in here, and you have Robert De Niro. And the story is that the Cuba Gooding Jr. character is in the Navy. He's a cook, but they only pretty much want him to be a cook, and he wants to move up. He wants to do different stuff. He has a major goal of becoming a master diver when he sees the different divers on the Navy ship. And I love the diving uniforms. It's like very old school classic, like the Scooby-Doo one, where it's like you know what I'm talking, the classic divers. Like it's cool looking. So he wants to become a master diver. Of course, during that time, there's discrimination, a lot of racism. They don't want him to become a master diver. So at every turn, they're trying to prevent this guy. They're like, no, you can't be a diver. You can't do that. He's like, I'm going to do it anyway. So he shows up at the diving training place and is just like waiting outside till Robert De Niro lets him in. And then he gets in and they still are like, oh, I don't want to bunk with this guy. And all his little Navy trainees leave him except for like one guy who's nice. But yeah, he's just getting all this discrimination. So that was very sad and intense, but he kept pushing through it. So this is a very inspirational story. He would keep going. He would train extremely hard. During the diving test, he would go down there for like a lot of hours, and he would not come up until he built the thing. And they try to sabotage him by throwing parts everywhere and making him not but he passed anyway. He studied. He did all what he needed. It was great. But then, oh my gosh, what happens to him? He gets to where he wants to be. He's now like a diver on the Navy ship. But then he goes and he saves somebody. This tripwire thing just flies through the ship and cuts off his leg. And so now he's legless. And he still wants to be a master diver. But then it turns into like a courtroom drama where he's fighting like, no, let me back in. I can be a master diver. They're like, you can't be a master diver. You got no leg. And he's like, no, I can do it. So they test him. They put on the diving uniform and stuff and have him walk. And Robert De Niro's like, come on, give it. You got to do this 12 steps. Let's go. He's like, yes, we're men of honor. And then, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. He succeeds. It's a real life story, I guess. Very inspirational. Good time. So I would recommend this one. I would rank this probably, I'd give it a 4. I would rewatch this one for sure. Yep.
That's a good score. Anybody else see that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I haven't seen that. No, I remember I worked at the theater when it came out though. I didn't see
It's
it.
told in that very like popcorny Hollywood way, like super accessible,
Yep.
but highly entertaining. It's a good movie.
Mhm.
The wifey just showed up. Hello, kitten paws. Poor girl's had a
wifey.
long day at work. Students got her all sick. Boo.
Oh,
So you go
Damn
rest
kid.
up, hon. Rest up. I made her din, so she'll have that. Let's see. So who recommended that last one, Mike?
4K Lowdown.
That was Okay. Okay, so you didn't have a Marriott title.
I did not.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
there you
when
go.
I saw the list, it looked like a lot of foreign language films, right?
I mean,
I mean, some of them
English.
probably were, but not the two we watched.
Like British and stuff like
mean,
that, right?
You know.
Foreign films, I guess, if you want to be very
Yeah, they didn't look
vague
like
about the term, yeah.
Americanized Hollywood films. So I'm like, I'm out.
She says, remains of the
They
day
talk
within-
English over there too.
There's no Yum Yum. Cuba Gooding Jr.
There was no Yum Yum. I'm glad I did not.
Dave even said, "Don't feel bad." He also fell asleep while watching his movie. Started watching
Oh
her-
wow! Why'd you recommend it? You set me up for this. At least it was
This kinda
free.
sounds
I
like
wanted
a-
to take-
Sounds like a Mike Tim thing here.
Yeah. Took
We
her
got
off
you.
Sabotage.
Sabotage. That's
Well,
funny.
yeah.
Mega Mike have a TV challenge for the movie dad. If you're up for it. Let's see.
I don't know what that means. I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
Full House.
He's only gonna make a sitcom. That's what he's doing.
All right, let's see. See if there's any messages here. I'm just trying to scan them, y'all. It says, Mike, if you like Yum Yum, you need to watch Game of Thrones. There's lots of
there's
Yum Yum
good
in
Yum
there.
Yum in there. A lot better Yum Yum than House of Dragons. I will say that.
Isn't there like ancestral Yum Yum in that though?
Exactly. That's
Yes,
why I
there
was
is.
out. That's why I'm like, no, this is not the Yum Yum I'm down with. I'm
Yeah,
gone.
but the actors aren't related, so you can look around it.
So yeah, Mike. So here's all
no.
the foreign movies she suggested to you.
Yeah.
We're British. Come on,
British
you like
language.
Guy Ritchie and all that stuff, right?
Not as hardcore British stuff. I like when he does very Hollywood wise King Arthur stuff.
Oh, you mean his bad movies?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All
I
right.
watch Snatch where you can't understand them.
Now I'm not going to say. Speaking of, nice segue, but we'll go ahead and take this as a segue. So, so my third film. This was recommended by Nick at AV Impulse. So thank you, Nick. And this was Gotti. Okay, this is the film that stars John Travolta. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. It's the story about John Gotti and the Gambino crime family, and his rise to power. And here's another thing too about this film. Tim, it consists of two of the issues of two different films that you had. One, the music drops in this film are so strange. Like I get it, and I know some people in the audience tonight love this film, but it's like I didn't understand the needle drops in this. It was like rap music. It was 80s. It was 90s. I was just like, what? Like literally, like when he's getting off, like getting a sentencing in the court, you start hearing "Do walk like an Egyptian," and they walk out of the courtroom. I'm like, what? Walk like an Egyptian? Like
He's walking,
and it was,
so
it was-
walk like
it
an
was-
Egyptian. I don't know.
and there was stuff like that all the time, like trying to like nail it on the head, like what they're doing. Like if they're doing this thing, there's a song that it's like, oh my god. It was so strange. And the editing also did what yours did is it went back and forth back. It was in the future and then it was in the past, future, past, future, past. And it was like, this definitely was a film that didn't need to over try that technique. They just needed to land the movie, tell it sequentially. And because he also gets cancer. So he's in prison near the end of his life. And he's got all this, his chin's all gnarled up and his hair's missing. And the very next cut, he's got that John Travolta hairdo looking good. I'm like, what? Like for a second, like when they first started doing it, I did not know what was happening. I was like, okay, it's one of these. They're doing that thing. All right. And so there's a lot of this bouncing around stuff. But I mean, Travolta's pretty good in the role, though. I mean, to give it some nods here, like the cast is really good. Travolta's got an interesting take. Sometimes you got to dial him down just a little bit. He almost looks like he's going to take every role and just chew on it a little too much. But I think the director pulls him back just enough. You could tell he was like, the thing is still like when you're doing a crime movie, I think some idiosyncrasies are baked into playing somebody like that, like grabbing them by the neck and you grab them like this, smack them on the face. Atta boy. There's a lot of that. Travolta just, hey, just grabbing people. It's like, kissing them. And I'm like, All right. I guess that's a mobster thing to do, but there's a lot of that. So, but yeah, so it's all about the Gotti family and the Gambinos, and the wife is like, whatever you do, don't bring our children into this life. And there's even a tragedy early on where a family member is struck by a car and killed, and so that's like a little moment in the film. But the oldest son is recruited into the family business just because that's how it goes, and he's out there doing shenanigans with his buddies, and they get in a bar fight. The bar fight, they just sort of split, and without realizing it, one of the guys actually dies at the bar fight, like just one of the people, because they just a guy came up to him, he said he wanted to buy him a beer, and he's like, yeah, all right, cool, buzz off. And he just wants to keep talking to him because he's proud of his family. Hey, I'm like you. And he goes, I said, get out of here. And he smacks him, and then all of a sudden it turns into a fight. I'm like, oh. And Travolta's reaction to that was pretty spectacular. He comes in and he just starts slapping the hell out of his son and the friend he's with. And the friend he's with, his dad was there. And his dad just, what? Go ahead, slap my kid. Yeah, these kids deserve it. So there's some good moments, but man, that music choice was absolutely horrible. It was just pulling me out. Like, I mean, why does this need like a 80s, 90s rap soundtrack, pop culture soundtrack? Super strange. So that's what keeps it down at the bottom there, despite having like a decent story tucked in there somewhere, and the editing I could have done without. So, anybody see Gotti?
No, but you've unsold me. Not that I was gonna see it.
I've heard bad things, so I was farting around while you were talking.
Yeah, I mean,
0%.
How bad were the reviews for this? And it has like a 20.
It got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep, it has a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. It has
got
a
a
24 on Metacritic and 6 Razzie nominations.
Yeah,
So,
must be too much of this. Hey, here's your award. I don't know if you won, but
yeah.
I mean,
John Travolta for the last 20 years. That's all.
Travolta's interesting. He has such talent, and then he does, Gotti and The Fanatic, and he's very over the edge.
Redbox exclusive movies and stuff.
Like recently, I just saw him in. I'm late to this one, but Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
That's good.
I actually like
great.
that one. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Like, I wish that was recommended to me because that was great. That was a really good movie. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to put that one at a 2. I mean, it's not something I'd ever revisit. I know. Sorry for those who love this movie. I know you're still in the audience. I don't want to call you out if you don't want to be called out, but I know he likes the movie. So thanks for the recommendation, but I'm gonna have to put that there. All right, at number 12, we're gonna go with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Nice.
That's a fun
Good movie, y'all. It's Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, of course. This is a very interesting film. So this is, of course, written and directed by Shane Black. He's co-writer on it, and it's a kooky story. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen it here, right?
I've seen it. Yeah, it's been a while.
Basically, it starts off like he's this little crook, and he's just trying to steal something, and he gets caught, and then he starts running with his buddy down the alley, and his buddy gets shot, and he's kind of freaking out, and he's just trying to escape the cops. And he just runs up this alleyway, up these stairs, into this room. And then when he opens the room, he slams the door. And then there's a crew in there. It's a casting crew because they're casting for a cop movie. And he just happens to burst in at that very moment. And they go, oh, you're here. You're a little early, but go ahead. Come on in. He goes, what? He's completely disoriented. He's just trying to hide. She goes, go ahead. Pick up the sides and read your part. And he's just like, and then he just kind of does it because he doesn't want to run out the door. And by the way, I've been in casting calls by the way, and the casting agent does not give you as much as this casting agent was giving him. They just sort of read the lines and let you do something. But she was like, you killed him, you let him go. And the very line she was delivering is kind of what he just experienced with his friend. And so he just sort of snaps and loses it and just sort of goes off the cuff. And it's exactly what, of course, the part needs in that moment. And they look at each other like, this is the guy. So they hire him, and to get to know that type of role, they pair him with, yes, who else but Gay Perry.
I
Played by
like how
Val
that's his
Kilmer.
name too.
Gay Perry is his name. I'm not like making fun of that. It's Gay
That's his
Perry,
name.
and it's
Yeah.
huh?
That's actually his name in the movie.
That's his name. Yeah, it's his name, and he even talks about it. It's pretty hilarious. And the dialogue is very crisp and witty and funny, and also Robert Downey sort of tells the story a little bit from a voiceover perspective at
Yeah.
certain points
Right.
when it's convenient for the film. Michelle Monaghan plays the
Oh.
girl. Is she just talk about your yum yum, Mike?
Oh
There
my
you go.
god, that Santa thing she's wearing. Oh my god!
Right? Come on now. Come on now. So she's quite the yum yum, and so they have an interesting little relationship, because they were little kids back in the day, and he was like doing this magic act, and he was gonna like cut her in half because she was his assistant, and she's like ta-da, and she's all tucked in the box while he's the fake legs, but they have really nice chemistry together. And basically, when they're out on one of these missions, they come across a car that goes flying over their head, lands in a pond, and there's a body in the trunk. And so they have to sort of follow this scenario about who this body is, how it got here, and all the shenanigans that come from it. And I don't know, this cast is just really good. It's very unexpected. It's very in certain things. You guys know, little fingers. Just careful with your fingers in this movie. So I'm going to say, be careful with those.
This is a good one to watch, though, if you like Nice Guys. For anyone that likes Nice Guys, it kind of could fit really well with that one.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
very much so. It's like a parody of a noir type movie. One of those things, because I know Tim, you love those kind of things. But yeah, I would recommend this. It's got good pace. It's well edited. It's sequential. But it moves well. The performances are fantastic. Val Kilmer is really super funny in this, and it's got kind of a hilarious ending. Without telling you the ending, like Robert Downey's trying to tell you an ending, and then like certain characters start coming in the room. You'll just have to see who the characters are. Like some are kind of hilarious. You'll see. You guys know what I'm talking about? Full score,
Yeah,
7 years ago.
Yeah, I need a rewatch now. I think I'm going to rewatch it this Christmas because it's a Christmas movie.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. It is.
That's
Yeah.
Christmas.
I haven't seen it in years, but it was really fun though. I need to watch it again. And Val Kilmer's hilarious. He's so underrated. Like
Michelle Monaghan though is the one that's seared into my brain now. Oh my god.
Yeah, she's pretty great. And just good supporting cast too. Mike, have you seen this movie?
I have not. No, I have not seen it.
Have we got you to put it on a list?
Oh, you had me at Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That's all I needed to know.
It has both of those in this movie. How
Yes.
about that?
That's what I was expecting.
There is Kiss Kiss and there is Bang Bang.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not necessarily in that order. All right. So, okay, here we go. No surprise. So, Maria, you are 3 for 3. This is England is my number one. And okay, this one, and it's funny, Tim, because I think she gave us some really good challenging films in these two. So I get like chills talking about this. So first of all, when this film started, it feels like there's no script at all. I didn't know I was watching a movie, because when they just start talking, it feels, I swear to God, I don't think I've seen a film like this. When they start talking, it's like they just rolled the camera and said, this is the gist of what you guys need to talk about. Okay, go. And then so the dialogue and the attitudes towards each other feels 100% unscripted. Every single frame of this film. And I found that fascinating. It's for that reason, that main reason I'm pushing this to the top, because it's unlike any of the films I've seen tonight, and unlike anything I've seen in a long time. And this kid, Thomas Turgozy, I think is his name, plays Sean. He's basically a kid who lost his father in the Falkland Wars. And the people that are around him are these skinhead guys. And he's like 12, right? And they're sort of like mid to maybe later teens, right? So he's definitely the young kid. And he just needs a place to fit in. Like, he's lost his dad. He loves his dad. So he's with his mom. A little boy doesn't necessarily relate to his mom that well. And this kid is like a little badass. He's never acted before either, by the way. So again, so like you guys say, we just do some deep dives. When this was over, Becky and I we were pulling up IMDb, we were pulling up trivia. I was like, I had to know more about this kid, and it's fascinating because this went on to instigate other follow-ups in show form. Like, so you have This Is England 86, This Is England 90. It's like, what happens to these characters? And then there's a girl in here. So I'll try to say this and see how you take it. So she's probably 16. She's like with the other kids. This kid's 12. There's a scene where they walk out together and they're holding hands, and you know, she's just trying to be sweet to the kid. And then there's like a kissing scene between her and this kid. That is something you won't see in an American movie. Like 16 and a 12-year-old, at least not anything I've seen in recent mind. And it was a little like not shocking, because I was like, it's coming. Like they're going to do that. And then they did it, and it felt so organic and so respectful and so like okay, if that makes sense. It felt okay for them to go there. And, you know, and then they just kind of become boyfriend, girlfriend, which was super interesting. But the one skinhead that he befriends first, this tall guy, kind of stands up for him because another huskier skinhead sort of slaps the kid around, and he stands up for him like, hey, you know, oh, by the way, accents, extremely thick. Mike, it's like a foreign movie to you. Like,
so
like
subtitles needed kind of British.
Here it is. It is, but the program I was using to watch it, I kept hitting subtitles and they would not come up. They did not translate onto the TV. They were on my iPad, but I'm not watching a movie on my iPad. So I'm usually pretty good with dialect. So I hung in there. I hunkered down and just went for it. But the first friend that he makes stands up for him, and they become fast friends, and they cut his hair. So he becomes like a kid skinhead, give him clothes. And it's kind of nice up to that point. You know, it's like, okay, he's finding friends. Then the film does this. This friend of the nice skinhead gets out of prison. And he's like, okay, guys, you know, this is me mate. You got to be nice to him. He was there for me. He took, you know, he went to prison for me. He went to prison for me. So you will show him some respect. So everyone likes showing this guy respect. But then he starts to sort of take over like the group, because he thinks that, not to get too political, because there's a lot of that in the world right now, but like he thinks that war that the kid's dad died in, the Falcon War, was all BS and it was unnecessary. And then the kid gets pissed. He starts slapping the guy. He's like, don't you talk about me dad that way? Stop talking about me dad. And he just starts beating that guy. And he kind of like, it was refreshing because like this little kid was standing up to him and no one's ever done that. And so he basically asked the entire group of friends to pick a side. Pick a side. We're going to fight. We're going to fight against this system, or you can walk out the door, no hard feelings. So a third of the team, including his friend, leaves. And the little kid, despite befriending that one first, stays with them. And the relationship that kid starts to have with the bully becomes very toxic. And it leads to something unforgettable. It was just like, you know, Tim, you wanted to almost tears. It was like, I was like, hands on my face. I was like, holy shit. This is the ending of this is unbelievable. So it leaves you, it leaves you full of life, full of just like, oh my God, these guys, again, it's not going to feel like you're watching actors at all, ever in this film. So this one, I just, because of, you know, going off of, I don't know if I rated it, but Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I'll do a 3.5 stars on that. This one's got to be a 5 though, because it had me doing so much research after the film, and to me that's when a film gets you. If you just go, that was good, that's 3 or 4 stars. But if you're like, oh my God, and you sit down and you start researching where all the characters went, that's a 5. So, Maria, well done, my darling. That was that was interesting. You nailed me on that one. I got to say, I didn't know what to expect at all. I didn't watch a trailer. I didn't do anything. I went in totally cold. I don't know if anybody else just went in cold on their movies.
I didn't watch it.
I know I'm going to watch it. Why bother watching the trailer, right?
Yeah. So if you can find it, I'll tell you how to find it. I sent you guys the link. You know how to find it.
But I was like, I remember it sounded familiar when you said the title. I was like, I know I've heard of that, and that's because it won Best British Film at the BAFTA Awards. And I was like, oh, that's why I've heard of it. So,
I can see that.
I like that she gave challenging movies though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah,
not
so-
want anything challenging.
Watch Brian
Oh,
and
but
Charles. It's not
you
very
got them
challenging.
anyway.
It's just a good old time.
All right, so we're just gonna bounce back real quick. So you guys, you'll put that on your radar to watch.
yeah.
I would,
I
I
had
would
heard of it. Yeah, I just didn't.
totally recommend that to you guys. She says, "Yeah, Mike, my recommendations were British language films." There you go.
British language.
Dave said he sent 20 movies on a list, trying to think of movies with good actors. Oh yeah, your list was great, dude. By the way, your list was awesome. That's why I think Mike was able to pull one.
Yeah, everyone's lists were good.
And also,
seen before and stuff. So
yeah, and the other criteria was also for some of us, because we don't want to get bogged down to having to rent too much, especially still being unemployed. We shot for whatever was free as well. Some things were literally popping on and off streaming services as we were preparing to watch some of our choices, so we'd have to pivot. So that had an impact on our selections as well. Oh, you haven't seen the remake of Taking Pelham. How could you ever saw this again?
remake is the one.
I did see. That's what I'm saying. I said the remake is the John Travolta one, right? So the old, it's the original. Yeah, it's the original one I haven't seen.
The original is very good though too.
Yeah, I actually prefer the original, which I rarely prefer originals over remakes.
Yeah, you are the queen indeed, my darling. Look at you. I think she deserves this. I think you need a special dance from this jive dude. Here we go. This is for you. I mean, come on now.
She killed it on. I mean, three top spots, and like I gave it a 5. You gave a 5. Derek, you were like a 4, 4.5, right?
I mean, if it was as heavy as your guys's, and as dramatically hefty, I'm sure it would have been too. But mine was a lot more lighthearted. But it was just so damn entertaining and adorable that I couldn't help but love it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. She says that the kid Sean is basically the director's Shane Meadows. It's based on his childhood experiences. Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I think Becky did also like it. Interview with the Vampire. I think we'd all seen that one.
No, I wanted to see that one, but it wasn't streaming anymore.
Yeah, that was the one you did pick in the. Yeah, you didn't end up watching it.
And I had to get Remains of the Boring.
She's like, "Have we seen The English Patient?"
Oh gosh, that movie's extra boring.
Yeah, I'm like,
yes, I've seen it as well.
I've seen it once, and I own it, and I need to watch it again. I'll say that, but
I don't need to see it again.
I just think of the Seinfeld episode where Elaine just hates it, and she pretends she hasn't seen it because everyone talks about how great it is. So her boss immediately makes her go and see it with him, and she's like, "I hate it." Oh, great.
She's saying that the sequels were even better. I mean, I can believe it. Like if the cast is still on point and they get a lot of that, if the same secret sauce is tossed on those things, I would be fascinated. And I already kind of read what happens to some characters, so I won't say. I was like, oh no! Like I was already like, man, no way.
Do these have a Blu-ray release here, or would I have to import if I just wanted to just buy?
That's a good question. Marriott, do we have Blu-rays on these? I just found them online, so I hadn't looked for them.
I'll look it up quick.
Derek, I meant to ask you, are you happy with the nominations from the Emmys? My second favorite TV show.
I don't watch enough TV to care, but I know Shogun broke the record for drama nominations, and The Bear broke the nomination record for comedy. Yeah. As great as The Bear is, it's not a comedy, and everyone agrees with that, which is funny.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I saw Shogun. That was a really great show.
Very Murders did good, and at least I watched all of that. So that's something I watched that got nominated. I got like 21 nominations or something crazy.
Yeah, she said, "I love This Is England. Very gripping once you got into the accents. Yeah, you got to like tone it in." I looked up afterwards how young the actor's mother. Yeah, the actual boy who's in it, his mother passed away before she could see this kid act in this film. It's so sad. Not in the mother in the movie. His actual mom. To speak like a Brit, his mom passed away, and the beautiful thing is the guy that plays the skinhead, that's kind of the a-hole, wanted to adopt the kid. That's was beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? They just became that kind of good friends. He wanted to adopt him, but the father kind of came back from wherever he went, and he kept the kid. So
Adorable.
I know.
I found him, Tim. I found him on the Blu-ray.com.
Oh yeah, it's on there.
There's no American release apparently.
Okay.
The original This Is England is a whopping $6.
Oh,
Nice.
And then you can buy a box set of the rest of them all together. So This Is England, the complete TV series, 86, 88, and 90 all together.
What's the price tag on that?
It says 40, but I don't know if it's like out of print now or something like that. But it does exist.
Okay.
I'm intrigued though. That's going on my list.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, it was dedicated to his mom. That's what instantly had us jumping online. We're like, "Oh, who's that?" Because it's got the same last name as the kid. And then like as we're looking up, I'm like, I hope it's not his mom. I hope it's not his. Oh, it's his mom. You know, like that's how like connected you get. She has it on DVD in 86, 88, and 90 in a Blu-ray box. Probably the one you just mentioned, sir.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he told you the Sicario. So just go back and check out what Derek's take on
Sicario.
Sicario.
Oh, I haven't seen Sicario forever, but it's good.
Oh, actually, Sicario. I was thinking Serpico. Totally not a looking movie from tonight.
Sicario. I like it.
Okay,
I need to watch
so
it
what do you
again.
think of Sicario?
It's good. I like it.
movies.
Roger Deakins cinematography. Can't lose. Put it that way.
Boys. All right, y'all. Well, that is our evening. What's your overall impression, your takeaway from the fan recommendations? Anybody?
I like it. Should do it some more because it's hard to recommend to each other at this point, honestly, a lot of times.
I enjoyed it. I will say, if anybody that watches us, whenever we do this in the future, if you know a specific person you want to gear towards, because we got just general lists and we pulled from, but if someone watching that knows my taste wants to throw out 5 movies that these are Tim movies, and I'll pick from what I haven't seen. So if you just want to gear a little bit directly to a person versus just because the 4 of us are pretty different in different ways. So, but I enjoyed it though. It was good. Besides Vanishing Point, but otherwise,
I feel like we all had one little clunker, right? At
Yeah.
the bottom.
I mean, I liked my least favorite. Just
I think you had
whatever.
the best of your third. Mike, how about you?
Yeah, it worked well enough. I got a couple 4 movies out of it, so that's the most important. It was kind of tough because it was all over the place. I would prefer if it was narrowed down with a theme, and then they recommended based off a theme, because then I would jump around and go for other people's movies. But these were just so like outside my wheelhouse. I'm like, yeah.
See, that's what I was going to say. I really liked about it. I liked that there was no theme. I love that it was wide open and anything could like tickle our fancy, you know,
Right.
so that we could just like, oh, I'm in this movie. It's almost like when I'm doing the 52 movie challenge. It's like, it's this movie, then next week it's suddenly that movie, and everything's a different taste. But maybe for the next one, yeah, we could theme it up. Like say, okay, the next one is going to be this theme. All right, now flood us with some recommendations. So, but I would definitely say we will be bringing this back. I think it was a big hit. I think we all enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. Should do it again.
Quite
for
a
sure.
bit.
Yeah.
And there you go. Now, as far as tomorrow night goes, we're going to scrap tomorrow night's show, y'all. Scheduling wise, we had a lot of stuff going on between the 4 of us. And since it was just sort of a recommendation episode from you guys anyway, the theme, there wasn't really a theme to latch onto. So we're just sort of embracing it all in tonight's episode, which is why we talked about what we loved about you guys recommending and all that stuff. That was all going to be part of tomorrow night's show. So we've done it all for you tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What say ye, fellas? Yeah. All right.
yeah,
That's
yeah. We'll be back next
Sure.
month with it'll be on my channel, and we're going to be covering summer blockbusters as the general theme. So we'll be back with normal scheduled programming next month.
We'll do our best.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Yeah. So we will be back next month with an all new theme. We'll tell you all the dates and everything. When we're gonna we were mulling over recommendations for each other for next month. We haven't nailed them down, but tune into the morning mug that I'm going to be doing on Tuesday. Hopefully we'll have them by then, and we'll announce them on that, so you guys will know what we'll be doing on Tim's channel next month. All right, y'all. Before we get out of here, is there anything anybody else wants to share? You all good?
Go watch
good.
Daniel Blake.
Yeah, go watch a lot of
Go watch
British
it.
movies. Apparently,
Yeah.
I'll promote myself. Yes, stop by
Of
my
course you
channel.
will.
I found
There
some
you go.
new faces in the chat today. Huck was pointing out one earlier. I forgot what the name was. It was like something whiskey or something like that. Yeah. So stopping by the channel, of course, watch the content, click on a video. I did a hunting video today that dropped. I'm doing a hunting video tomorrow that's dropping, and you're getting something amazing every day. So if you love movies, physical media, all this great talk we do, stop on by, watch the content, and yeah, stop by everybody else's channel, subscribe, enjoy. Yes.
And we'll have all the links below. And thank you again, everybody. Thank you again to Caprice and for Tiana for their little super chats and members. And to who do we got? Collector Movie Man, Fish, Sarah, Ben, Laren, and Dell as new members on the channel. So thank you all so much for being here tonight and checking out our recommendations episode. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Catch you later.